What is up? I am Chase Hoover, also known as Hoover 5, and in this video I set 20 new speedrunning world records. But I am not going to talk a moment about the Google snake because, to be frank, I don't really care. I am going to talk about Quentin Tarantino because this week was the week where Quentin Tarantino went on his tirades, where he said, I hate Paul Dano. Paul Dano ruined There Will Be Blood. I also hate Owen Wilson. And I also hate Matthew Lillard. And also, Toy Story 3, is the second best movie ever made. And I don't want to talk about any of those takes because I don't care about those takes. I've never seen a Matthew Lillard movie. I have seen one Paul Dano movie. I have not seen Toy Story 3 since I was 10. I want to talk about Quentin Tarantino as a person because I hate his movies. I think his movies are frankly bad. Not bad, they're just mid. And I'll tell you why they're mid. Because Quentin Tarantino doesn't make movies for me, he makes movies for him. And I'm not him. He has gone on record many times saying, I only make movies for myself, and anyone else who enjoys it is a complete coincidence. They're just along for the ride. And it's so clear that that is the case when you watch these movies. Because these movies, we're talking Django Unchained, Reservoir Dogs, Inglourious Bastards. These are movies designed for a man-child who is obsessed with gore and violence and feet. And I just don't care about those things in my movies. And it tells me a lot about Quentin Tarantino to know that he makes the movies that he loves and that these are the movies he chooses to make. When I was writing these thoughts down in my mind palace, and when I was recording these Google Snake videos with my arthritic hands, I realized something. There's a scene in Pulp Fiction, which even if you haven't seen Pulp Fiction, you've probably seen, where Quentin Tarantino is talking to Samuel L. Jackson. And Samuel L. Jackson is drinking Quentin's coffee, and he says, this is some serious gourmet shit. I'm going to censor that word in post. I am scared about my ad revenue being cut. This is my only livelihood. And then Quentin Tarantino looks at Samuel L. Jackson, and he says, I know it's good shit. You have to tell me how good my coffee is. I'm the one who bought it. I wouldn't buy bad shit. I have to censor all those as well in post. I'll do that later. But I think, and I don't know if Quentin realized this, and I'm pretty sure he didn't because he's not a great movie creator. That quote that he just gave is a microcosm of how Quentin Tarantino feels about himself in the real world in his movies. He looks at these audiences and these critics who are all saying, oh my god, Quentin, you made such a great movie. And he says, I don't need you to tell me how great my movie is. I know how great my movie is. That's why I made it. Can't you tell? And he's just an arrogant little shit. And I have to censor that in post. I don't care for it. Like, I realize that he is an asshole, and I don't like dealing with assholes. He is one of those people, and we all know those people, who are like a 70th percentile person in their specific chosen field, but they think they're 99.999 percentile, and they have this massive ego about it, and everything is beneath them because they are the cream of the crop, and they are the best. If Quentin Tarantino was in Gen Z, he would be, the dichotomy is crazy, he would be one of those performative little guys who, I look like I could kill you, but I cry to Phoebe Bridgers in the shower, and I listen to Sea Rose and Boy Genius. Like, he would be in the club with wired earbuds listening to God knows what, Claro probably, while like doing a mocking frat flick, while thinking about how much he would rather be reading Sylvia Plath right now. Like, I can deal with the performativeness, and I can deal with making bad movies, but I can't deal with the fact that he's such an arrogant man. Arrogance is a sign of greatness, many say. But I believe that that is correlation, not causation. Because arrogance correlates to a lack of empathy. And those with less empathy feel easier stepping on the toes of those they see as beneath them in order to get ahead. And that is not a trait I would value in someone who I want to enjoy, either parasocially through their media or in person as a friend or as a coworker. And I think this has been my issue with Quentin Tarantino all along, is that despite his bad taste, he is the only director who I've explicitly said I don't really care for. Like Christopher Nolan, I don't love Christopher Nolan movies. I think a lot of them are also very overrated. But I'm not going to say that Inception isn't a spectacular movie. That's a masterpiece, because I understand the appeal of Inception. I see everything that it is trying to be, and I think that it does a great job with that concept. I gave Inception, I think, 3.5 stars because it's just not my type of thing. I gave Django Unchained 3.5 stars. It's not because it's not my type of thing. It is my type of thing. I love that type of setting. I love the dynamic of just not grizzled, but like cheery. Okay, here's a comparison for those in the know. The dentist in Django Unchained reminds me so much of Buster Scruggs from the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, and I love that movie, but I hate how Quentin Tarantino does it, because he has this fixation with his quirky little dialogue that he thinks is incredible, but it's not. He thinks that he's inventing the wheel when he makes this quote-unquote realistic dialogue that's so unrealistic and is designed to get a little chuckle out of the random 55-year-old white man sitting in the audience because he sees Jonah Hill wearing a KKK mask and says, haha, he said a funny little thing about his wife. But I'm running out of time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll catch you in the next record.